In conversation with David Clark, Dave resides in Hartlepool in England, UK, with his wife Melanie and his dog Noah. Dave was a very talented non-league footballer who is now an avid Newcastle United fan. Dave is a retired gas and oil instructor who has worked on contract all over the world, gaining experience and knowledge of the places that appears in his books. Dave is a regular gym user, also spending his time walking his dog and writing. Dave suffered a stroke in 2019 and writes books to keep his mind active. And on today's episode of Auto Interview, it's my utmost pleasure, joy and excitement to have on the show today, David Clark. How are you doing today, David?
I'm very good, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm very excited, really, to have you on the show today. Having checked through a snippet into your works, I'm thrilled we're here to sit and talk about it. So thank you very much for coming on. So, David, I need to first say that I am taken aback by the description page of your book, The Connection on Amazon. And I love the fact that it weaves into different themes and subject lines, and it's so beautiful to me on a very simple, single spot. And I would like to ask you, what inspired you to write this book? How does it came to be?
Okay, right. My inspiration basically was I've been trying to write a book for 10 years.
Wow.
And it was I had the concept of the idea of the book, what it was going to be about, but I couldn't start it. I just couldn't get my head around how I was going to create the characters and all sorts. And then I had the stroke. Then when I was lying on my bed, because I died in the stroke,
Wow.
it brought me back to life. So when I was lying in my deathbed, I decided there and then I must write this book. I've got to
Wow.
write it, or it's still, it's gone. So that was my inspiration.
Wow. That sounds like such an experience you've got, really. And I'm intrigued with how that experience could lead and transfer into you eventually writing a book of it. That sounds to be quite amazing, really.
When I did die, I had a vision, and that
Oh,
vision I put into my third book. So I
wow.
talked about the vision that I had in my third book.
Wow. Wow. That's quite exceptional. That's quite a lot. And now, just for the sake of readers who haven't read the book yet, and without giving much information away, I'd like you, aside from the ones you've mentioned, I'd like you to tell us much more about the themes, the overarching themes, and subject lines we'd expect picking up the connection. And how do you come up with titling it the connection? How does that come to be too?
The connection is the first in a series of four books. So the connection is introduction to James Fraser, who is the hero, is that in my alter ego. He's
Mm,
he's from Hartlepool where I live. He went in. He was a street fighter because he had nothing else to do, and
well,
then he went into the army, became very good in the army, became a champion in everything. Then he joined. He was requested to join us SAS, Special Air Services, and
mm,
he became in a team of four where they went all over the world for intelligence gathering and undercover operations and met all these obviously
mm,
these criminals and so on. And then when he finished his time in the army, he came out and decided that he wanted to do something with his life. So he wanted to start his own business as a private investigator.
well,
And then that's when he got his first case, which the book is basically about. Is the first case is a lady who was married to a rich guy in Hartlepool, has gone
oh,
missing. She's from the Philippines and she's gone missing. Call her Kathy.
well,
Well, the backstory is where she came from. She came from Jakarta, where I used to work, obviously,
mm,
and she got mixed up in a lot of underworld people and so on. So, but she also got mixed up with drug. She become a drug mule.
mm,
What happened was while James is investigating for the guy hired him to investigate him, the police called him into the station to ask him what he was doing, and then he was met by MI5 because
mm,
they because she was using drugs from big drug cartels in Indonesia. So it was a
yeah,
massive international case. So they asked him to look into it, and he said, "I don't work for the MI5. I don't work for you guys. Nothing. Blah blah." So there was a lot of there's a lot of connection between him and the MI5 and so on. So they asked him to go to Jakarta, but obviously, as somebody in high profile. He doesn't go to Jakarta. He goes to Singapore to meet one of his friends that he was with in the SAS.
Wow.
A very very close friend called Gus. He met him in Singapore. Then the story just ravels from Singapore to Jakarta and back while he tries to find Kathy.
Mm. Oh, wow. This sounds to me to be quite amazing and quite fun, really. I
Yeah,
love your take of it and I love your description of it.
yeah,
Sounds very amazing to me.
yeah.
Very amazing.
See, there's a lot of characters that he meets within this search for Kathy, and
Mm.
these are characters that I've met in my life
Oh, wow.
that I've put into the book.
That's amazing. I'd like you to show the book again to the camera, just
Yeah,
so we see what it looks like.
that's the
A bit
connection.
upward, the connector. Beautiful cover you've got in there. Would you like to talk about the making of the cover? And sometimes I think the artistic story behind every book cover.
That was my idea. You see,
Yeah,
I wanted James to be in the fog, like the background, looking
yeah.
over the Marina Towers in Singapore, and there's some buildings from Jakarta with the evil covering them buildings, looking at James,
Mm.
and that's what he's trying to fight. We're trying to fight evil and trying to get justice for the world. But in his way to get justice is for me is the best way. You get rid of the evil completely.
That's impressive to know, really. I love your take on that. Love your
Yeah,
take on that. And David, the book takes readers across different parts of the world, from
yes,
England to Singapore to
yes.
Jakarta. I wanted to ask you, what kind of research went into making this setting feel so authentic to
Okay, well,
read?
yeah. With Jakarta, obviously, I worked there for 7 years in Indonesia, so I learned Jakarta very, very well. I
Wow.
went into places which I was researching myself for the book. Really,
Oh.
really bad places which appear in the book. Yeah, I mean these places are like full of prostitutes and full of gangsters.
Wow.
Yeah, I went in. I just wanted to see what they look like so I can put it in the book and like show the reality rather than just a make believe world.
Mm.
Singapore, I had to go to Singapore because we had to do visa runs because you have to
Oh.
leave Indonesia to change your visa. So I got to know Singapore very, very well, which is a very nice place.
Mm.
Best place I've ever visited is Singapore. A lovely place, but there's so much I can tell you about Singapore that's in the book. I mean, there's a place in Singapore called Orchard Road, and Orchard Road has all of these extremely plush and exclusive shops, Prada, Gucci, and so on.
Mm.
And it's one of the most famous roads in the world. And right smack on it is a place called Orchard Towers, and it's
Wow.
it's locally known as fourth floor of Hawes. So obviously, I wanted to go in and just research to see if I could put that into the book as well, which it is. But before I went to go there, this is where I met one of the characters in the book called the Christie. I was walking this. I've been to this place called the Curry Culture, which I'd researched and found. It was one of the best curry houses in Singapore. I
Yeah.
was walking back to my hotel on the side of the road where the Orchard Towers were,
Mm.
and there was this girl, beautiful looking girl. Obviously, she was a lady of the night, and she stopped me. She said, "Hi, I'm Christy. I'm Christabel." I mean, I called myself Christy. I said, "All right." And she said a few things to me, which I put into the book. And her name is the only one I've kept that I've met. So she appears in the book, Christy, and she goes all the way through the four book because she becomes part of James's team of Eraser team. Yeah, because he felt a bond towards her, like a parental bond, because she was only a young kid.
Oh.
And I actually met this girl, Christy. Yeah,
Wow, that sounds to be quite fun, really. I love your description of this, and I love the fact how you're able to tailor it to how all of these things emanate from covering England to Singapore to Jakarta, and how
yeah,
you're able to, move into your research, making the teams feel so authentic and quite personal. That sounds to be quite great to me, really. Thank you
yeah,
for sharing. And also, David, I see that some of the characters in the book are very realistic.
yes.
So I am curious to ask you if Yeah, in any way, based off real life person, people close to you, friends, family, etc. I don't know. Did you tell
Yeah,
us more?
most of the bad guys in there are bad people I've met in my life, really bad people,
Wow.
and I created them out of them. I created the characters from them.
Wow.
I mean, I've seen some bad things. People do some bad things, and
Wow.
they're all in that book. It's a bit like a revenge toward getting towards them and so on. So,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, that's what they're based on. Bad people. Like my team, the Eraser team, the people that I've met who good. I mean, Angus is after this. Gus is after this guy that I work with from Scotland, who's one of the strongest guys I've ever met in my life. And he was a really nice
Mm.
guy.
Mm.
Yeah, so obviously Christy. Yeah, we've met Christy.
Wow. That's quite a lot, really. I like the fact that you're able to weave reality into it and base your characters off real life people. I can imagine how basing, but sometimes I think basing characters off real life people makes the characters feel so amazing, read so lovingly, and you
Yeah,
can able to, relate to them and
yeah,
have this emotional connection with the story.
yeah. Their traits as
Yeah,
characters traits
yeah.
as well.
Their characterization,
Yeah.
their characteristics,
Yes.
what they like to do, their features, the way they speak, the way they talk, the way they stand, the way they behave, the
Yes.
way they,
Exactly. Exactly.
all
Yeah.
of those features that make their personality, you know.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful one.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one. And also like to ask you, because one of the things that makes literature, or one of the things that I found quite fascinating about writing, is the fact that a book can be interpreted in different ways by different readers based on their opinions. And
Yeah.
sometimes the reader might get the message intended by the author. Sometimes they might not get the message intended by the author. Sometimes they might be close to getting the message, and most of the times they might be far from getting the message.
Yeah.
And as hilariously fun as they sound, I want to ask you, how do you feel when readers interpret your works differently than you intended? How does that make you feel as a writer?
To be honest with you, I've never had no bad reviews yet. They've all been good reviews. The good reviews are all they all get the story right and
Mm,
which they're understanding the story and so on. But I mean, if I get a bad review, I'm going to listen to it and I'm going to act on it, and I'm going to think, well, okay, yeah, I agree with it, or I disagree with it. But you've got to go in, maybe change things.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I mean, an example is the Quran. If you look at the Quran, people misinterpret it,
yeah,
interpret it. So you can't have it. You can't have everything perfect. I don't think.
That's amazing. I love your take on that. Yeah, thank you for mentioning. Thank you for mentioning. And just apart from the connection, do you have any other works you've authored or say currently working on?
Yeah, the second book is already published now. It's called The Connected.
Wow.
So that's the next part of the series. And I've also written the third book, which is called The Hyena.
Wow.
Obviously, the third part of the series, and I'm just about finished the last book, which is the series is called The Head of the Barb Chain, and
Wow.
the last book is The Head of the Barb Chain. Looking for him, so
Wow. You sound like you've
whole series.
absolutely sounds like you've got a lot ongoing, really, from the first to the second to the third to the fourth. I hope you find some time to sleep.
Plenty of time for sleeping.
Well, that's it. Well, I know the writing takes a lot of time, a
Yes,
lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, a lot of sitting back, a lot of going back and forth, a lot of edit, a lot of thinking, a lot
yeah,
of, analysis. And that what actually want to make me to ask you, because sometimes I find it very amazing how novelists like yourself are able to craft from one sentence to another, from paragraphs to pages, from pages to chapters. So you've made a huge novel like the one you just raised to the camera. And honestly, me thinking, how are they able to sit and write these words in a beautiful manner, in a way that keep transitioning quite beautifully without anything happening in between?
I might
Yeah,
be different to other authors because I see the pictures in my head.
yeah,
I see the full pictures. I live it, and then it's quite easy to just put it into words because I'm living that. that book. You see, I'm living what the next part's going to be with the conversations that I put in the book. That just comes out in my head, just basically it's all made up, but it comes easy to me.
That's quite amazing too. I think I love your take on that. Yeah. Well, one of the reasons why I feel well, you're a novelist. I'm a poet. One of the things why I feel it's very nice to me is the fact that poetry come quite easily to me. They just start to speak in my head like a voice telling me, pick up your pen, Peter, and start writing. And they tell you, write this line, write this page. They
Yeah,
even tell you the right words to use. And sometimes when I sit back and go check the meaning of those words in the dictionary, it fit in perfectly to how the voice came to me. And I was like, that's so strange. That looks spiritual. That's unbelievable. Where are these words coming from? Well, it's
yeah,
always very much surprising to me
yeah.
with
But
novelists. I mean,
sometimes
you've
that,
created a very big book.
yeah, well, sometimes that gives me a problem when I'm looking for that word, so it's like a writer's block.
Yeah.
What's that word? What's that word? So what I have to do, I have to get up and walk away, have a talk, have a walk, and have a drink of tea or something, just to forget totally what I'm writing. Then I come back and I go, oh, that's the word.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's so fun to know, really. That's so fun to know. I love your take on that, really. And I think this is one of the things being taught in writing classes, in writing workshops, in how to tell a good story, in storytelling classes, etc. That's quite amazing, really. I love your take on that. Now, before we call it a day today, is
Yeah,
there anything else that you would love to share with the viewers about your book that we did not mention in this interview and you'd love the viewers to know?
yeah, it's available on Amazon, so go and buy it. Other things there, I've had the connection's already won one award,
Yeah.
one book award. It's in another competition, which is
Wow.
the end of the year. I've also had a pitch again for a Hollywood producer, uh, and he was very very interested in it, but he said the story would demand a lot of money. Like he's talking about $90 million to put
Wow.
together, which he said they only do small things. So
Mm.
I think I've got another pitch to another Hollywood producer coming up soon. So it's
Oh,
free. I mean, people need to start reading it. Get it into the mainstream. At the moment, it's just stuck in Amazon. I'm getting not so good reviews for it, but it needs to get into the mainstream. People need to read it and find out that it is a very, very good book. And it's,
wow.
you take it on all day, sit on the beach and just dream. Just put yourself there, put yourself in the place of James and everybody else, and you'll have a great time. Fantastic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love your take on that. That's very true. And thank you so much for mentioning it. Yeah. Yeah. Also, I'd like to ask you, as a published author, what sort of advice would you give other writers who are still struggling with writing, sitting down, writing, and publishing a book? What would you advise people in this category?
Well, for me, the writing and the publishing was the easiest part. Easy. I mean, for me, writing's easy. Publishing,
Oh,
publishing. I sent it to a lot of publishing agents, uh, big publishers. They all wanted it. They all wanted the book. Then it was just how much it's going to cost to get it published.
mm,
I went ahead with a company called Page, which have done nothing for me. Now I met this other guy called Dominic Dominic Caricio, who's doing
wow,
all sorts for me. He's very, very good. He's published my second book. He wants to publish my third book. Uh,
wow,
so, I mean, I put his name out there. If anybody, he's very, very good, very, very good promoter, very good marketer, and he's done a lot for me since I went to him. But the West, what I would warn people is trying to market your book yourself, and there's a lot of scammers out there who want to take all your money off you and do nothing for you. Very, it's a terrible world, the book world, full of scammers. Terrible. I mean, I had one the other day. She messaged me saying she was going to do this for me, going to do that for me. So I said, all right, okay, do that. Then she said, well, will you promote me? So I just turned the tables around. I said, okay, I'll promote you, but you're going to pay me. You're going to pay me to do that. She, oh, I can't pay you. I said, well, I'm paying you then. We can come to an understanding that we can both get something good. And she wouldn't pay me anyway. I just put the phone, like I stopped messaging, and then my phone rang. I picked the phone up, and on the other end of the phone, her name was on the phone. On the other end of the phone was a man from Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
So he was disguising himself as a woman,
Oh,
a scammer, you know. So got to be careful, got to be really, really careful.
mm,
And that's why Dominic's come on, you know, he's done wonders for me.
that's
I would
amazing to know.
recommend him for anybody. Very good.
That's amazing to know, really. And just in case we have viewers who are watching the video, on what platform are they available on for purchase?
Just Amazon. It's all on Amazon.
Yeah.
All on Amazon, yeah.
That's great. And I left a link in the description part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of David Clark's book directly on Amazon and also on other platforms. I also left a link to David's social media pages for possible followings. So thank you so much, David, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. I must say it's more than awesome having
Yeah,
this conversation with you around your book, The Connector. Quite beautiful, quite amazing. And thank you so much for coming on.
it's been a pleasure, sir, and I wish you all the best in Bristol.
Yeah, it's my pleasure as well.